Okay, so we staggered again on the header there. So good day, everybody. It's the 23rd of April. Time's ticking by, and the boats are out there struggling to get to the finish. It's unbelievable. England's a very interesting place, and the English Channel and the Solent and all the rest of it. Lots of strange currents, and it's all well known. But if you've never experienced it, it's quite an eye opener. And that's what these guys and girls are going through right now. We not a lot of tweets, no sort of standouts to talk about. The Explorer's still going. We had 3 calls scheduled for today from. No, hang on a sec. No, I'm not sure of the others, but anyway, the only one that called was Explorer. So Sterner was meant to ring, but they never called. But we did get a call from Explorer. I haven't heard it yet. But apparently they're all fine, heading this way, sort of, even though they were heading for Spain again now. They go one way and then the other. Anyway, so it's all happening. We'll go straight in to show you the struggles of the boats coming now. And I've got Windy on standby to show you how challenging it can be, these last little bits. It makes you really think about how easy the first 4 boats had getting to the start line. So here we have it. We should have rolled over. No, they're still looking to roll over. But anyway, you can see now Galliana's not got a lot of breeze, and she's tacked off on starboard tack. There's a huge current here. It's running at about 2.5 knots. So when you see her going at that 45-degree angle, sort of out to the northwest, she could well be sailing slowly north, and the current is just now pushing them that way. But we'll wait and see. We haven't rolled over yet. We're a little bit too quick off the mark. I might just, we can wait. It should jump. No, maybe I'll just reboot. I'll reboot this so it doesn't take that long. Go to leg 4. Go to Windy. I'll put the grids on just for the hell of it. And then I'll build it up here, get us to back to where we go. And we should be looking reasonable by now. 11 o'clock. That should be 12 o'clock. No, we're not rolling over. That's interesting. Why not? Everything's a little bit late. Okay, so anyway, we'll just carry on, and I'll look right at the back end while we're waiting for the front guys to come in. We'll find Explorer down here. They've had a bit of breeze, and once again, at least they're heading back towards the rum line. But if they're tacking through 90 degrees, you can see what would happen there. There's their tacking angle now, and if they were over on the other tack, even if at 90 degrees, you'd be coming across this way, which is pretty much parallel. Oh, there they go. They just jumped. Still doing the same. 4.9 knots. They've got over 30 knots there. There's probably constant forecast to be about 27, and gusting 35 maybe, 4 meter C or something. But the principles of sailing is you tack to get to the mark, and now they're 90 degrees off the mark. So if they tack the other way, they could be coming this way, making their way towards the finish, even though it's not directly to the finish. But I won't call this a losing tack, but you'd certainly be better off. But maybe it's the sea state that's holding it there. And even if you're not tacking through 90 degrees, it's 45 degrees off the mark, a little bit away from it, you're traveling out of the heavier weather and get into good weather, which means you can tack closer to the wind. You can work out where the center of any pressure system is, depending on whether it's the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere. You face the wind and stick your arm out, and you'll be pointing directly to the center of the system. Once you know where the center is, you know whether you're going into the heavy weather or away from it. So if they had all of that information, they might be on the other tack and they'd get home quicker. Anyway, they're getting there. And I think I saw Mark say he's thinking the 7th of May. I've always been saying the 8th or 9th of May, but let's wait and see what happens. So Sterner, you can see they're challenged with the weather right now, doing 2.8 knots, not a fast way to get home. And that's pretty straightforward to see there. They just simply don't have the wind. It's now coming from the north, and it'll depend on what happens in the next couple of days, how that pans out. So now I'm going to see if we can get. No, we can't get Explorer and Sterner. Not at that rate anyway. We'll try it off of this one. It'll give us an idea. So if we come 1 day ahead, there's 1 day ahead. The stern immediately gets some breeze. I'll blow that up in a minute. That's coming from behind. That's good. And slowly this heavier weather is leaving Explorer, but they've still got it on the nose. And because this is sort of shaping up to be a combined high pressure system, they're probably going to have that for a while. So there's the first day. But for Sterner, they're going to get the breeze from behind. So it'll be spinning us up and rolling, but not fast. We come through another day. Is there. Sterner's got some bigger winds pushing them in, so that's good. And Explorer's same deal, light headwinds, but they'll get there eventually. So just to pick that up a bit now on Sterner, because I've already estimated, look at this morning, and I think they're going to be in about the 27th. And the reason for that is simply this, that if we come back to now, they've got very little wind. They're going to sit there for a while. I think this might push through one at a time. So you can see it's very slow sailing. And this is hang on a sec. Okay, so there's one, that's right now. This is tonight. So there's midnight, and they've virtually got very little wind, so they're hardly moving. Might be doing 3 knots. By 7 o'clock in the morning, they've got the breeze coming from behind. They're probably moving. And what I do then is I estimate how far they've moved ahead. And they've probably done about 100 miles. I think they do a 100-mile day. They've got 122 miles there. So that puts them 100 miles. I'll just show you how I can do all this. 100 miles is probably about here. So they've still got 24 hours out, still got light tailwinds. Okay, so it's not off to a flying start. And so that's midday tomorrow. They're around about here somewhere. Then if we come back and keep pushing through, you can see they're going to have an average good day, remembering that they're over here. So now it's coming up, and there's 1 o'clock in the morning, so about 12 hours. And so that's going to be, here it comes through. It's softening off, but it's solid breezes from behind. That's the second day. They would have done 100 miles the first day, and they'd get about 160, 170 the second day, I reckon, maybe 160. So that's about 260 miles from where they are now. So if we come through about 260 miles, so in 2 days' time, they're going to be around about here somewhere. Okay, so imagine that. They've still got a very nice nor'wester. They'll still have kites up, heading up, and they're about here. So then for the third day, in fact, before I move that, if they're going to be about here, they're going to have about 240 miles to the finish. Okay, and it's now, should I say that was 2 days, wasn't it? Yeah, 2 days. So 2 days, so 23rd, 24th, 25th. 25th there, 240 miles to go. What sort of weather are they going to have for the next 24 hours? And it's starting to get soft, right? So you can see there, we're coming up to 24 hours. They've now got light headwinds. So that's day 3. So with that sort of weather, they're only going to do 100 miles if they're lucky. So there's still 150 miles to go. So they've got 150 miles to go, and they're sitting here with light headwinds. Okay, the wind's getting sucked into that high. And so then the next day, they've finally got some confusing weather, but at least they're sailing. Looks like headwinds. Okay, there might be, depending where they are down here, but certainly the third day on the 27th is a little bit confusing. Not worrying about tides and currents, but I'd say sometime late on the 27th, they'll finally crack their last 150 miles or something. So there it is there coming in the afternoon. So I think we'll see them late in the day on the 27th. So that's the call for Sterner. And now to look at what we've got here for Triana and the others. So this is it right now. We've got Evrika back here doing 2.9 knots, not in a hurry. And they managed reasonably well, 142-mile days. They were doing okay until they've driven into this light stuff. Now, Galliana's just tacked across, but they're still only doing 1.4. And the reason is they've got a 2-knot head current. So before, when they were going out at 45 degrees, I'm sure they were heading more north. The current just sucked them back this way. Now they're heading straight into the current just about, 1.4 knots. So they're probably sailing another 2 knots on that. So probably saying 3.5, 4 knots maybe. I'll show you the current in a minute on windy. Then we've got White Shadow doing 4.1, and they're pretty close to the coast, but they've still got a current there. So I'll just pick this up one and see if it's not too big. Okay, so yeah, they're sailing into the current, which is due to change in the next hour or so. It'll turn around, it'll go slack water, and then it'll turn. But did a 138-mile day. They've managed to pretty much hold. They've lost. Yeah, they're still holding Triana. They've been sitting about 7-8 miles behind Triana for some time. Triana's doing 6.7, so they must be really hooting now because they're right on the edge of that current. They did a 136-mile day, and they've got 25 miles to go. So if they're making 6.7, that's near enough to 3.5 hours yet to go. So that's about 4:30, providing everything balances out, the current versus the wind. So another 4 hours. Let's see if the wind is holding. There it is there. There's 4:30. So it looks like it's going to hold for the 2 leaders. So we're going to see them late this afternoon. So I think what I'll do now is I will just come back here and push you over to Windy. And just remembering where they are first, just remember they're just off that headland there, heading straight for the Solent. And they're both there. Okay, so I'll now drop you into Windy. And so where are they? They're around about there now. Okay, they're around about this area. You should be looking at Windy. I'm just going to check that just to make. No, you're not. Bloody hell. Okay. Why not? Oh, still not there. What's going on here? There it is. You got it there. Glad I checked. Rightio. So you got Windy now. Yes, you're looking at the same thing that I'm looking at. I'll find Windy here. Okay, so this is about where they are now in here. And you can see it's 2.82. You know, this is the current. Oh, that's for 3 o'clock this afternoon. So this is now. Okay, this is 1 o'clock. So this is the real-time live current that they've got, 2.5 knots. Tapio's back here somewhere. He's got a couple of knots as well, pushing him down. So, but the guy's trying to get in now, 2.5 knot head current. Not very encouraging for trying to get into the Solent over there. So there it is there, 2.5 knots. And if we push this forward every hour, so this is now 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 3 or 4 actually, it's 3 o'clock. No, local time, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There's 4 o'clock and it's still going. So, but by 4 o'clock, they'll be over here and it's back to about 1 knot. So you'll probably see Triana break out and they'll get another couple of miles away from White Shadow because they'll be out of the current quicker. So there's 4 o'clock, but they're going to ride this current all the way in 1 knot. If I go through to 6 o'clock, it's just dying at 6 o'clock. Okay, getting ready to turn. So it's all negative for both of them coming in. I think White Shadow will be in a couple of hours behind them. So it could go through to 6, 7 o'clock. It's still starting to push through behind that again. That's interesting. It's the current. It's not swinging the other. It's swung the other way, but it's so then you'll see Tapio take off and get a big kick. So that's there wind-wise. Let's have a look at the wind. Okay, so we'll come back to now just to see. Hang on a sec. Here we go. This is 2 o'clock. So at 2 o'clock, they've got a nice breeze. They've got a 12, 13 knot northerly, near enough to north, so they're reaching, and they'll come straight in here like that. And is that breeze going to hold? It's going to hold. That's through to 6 o'clock tonight. Still holding 11 knots. Nice breeze. And we'll go to 8 o'clock. It's just slowing down. It always does at dusk, but it's good enough to get White Shadow in as well. So no worries there. Okay, I think that's okay. I'll come back to the tracker, and then I'll send you guys back to the tracker as well. So hit that. You're on the tracker. Okay, and I got to go to the tracker, and we'll look at the leaderboard just to see what's happening here with times. I see Spirit of Helsinki were declaring themselves as second on the podium for Thingo. I'm not on the combined results. Hang on, I'll scrap that and come back here. we'll get on to the combined results now, so we can see where everyone's sitting and discuss all of that. So I'm now on combined results of the leaderboard. Okay, and we have a winner there, which we've declared as Maiden, 179 days, 1 hour, 24 minutes. And Spirit of Helsinki looks like they might be untouchable for the second place. We don't actually have a first, second, third podium situation for the event. We just have one winner, which is the IRC winner, and that's Maiden. But nonetheless, it's a nice claim to fame if you're an entrant in the OGR to say, oh, well, we came second. And that looks like it's where it's going to sit with placings for Spirit of Helsinki. I think it's fair enough to say they probably come second overall in IRC, about 17 hours behind Maiden. So they Maiden and Helsinki had a battle right to the very end. Then the next question is Triana against Penduic. Now Triana are showing an ETA here. Let's go from the start. We'll go for a recent. They're showing an ETA here of today at 4 o'clock, and I'm saying it's going to be about 1, 2, 3. Oh, this is UTC. Yeah, 4. It's 5 o'clock. That could be about right. So it's about right within an hour or so. And if that was the case, their finish time would be 180 days, 12 hours. Now that puts them one just under a day. So they've got that's 18. So that's 6 plus 12. So they've got 18 hours difference there. So you're not going to get them quicker by 18 hours to knock Spirit of Helsinki off their second place. So that's pretty clear there. And then if we look at Triana's time against Penduic's time, we have, if they were finishing at that time, they have near enough to 8 hours up their sleeve. And again, they're not going to take another 8 hours just sitting there doing nothing. So that means that it's highly likely that Triana will be third in the rankings under overall IRC when they get here. And that puts Penduic at fourth, and so it goes down the line with the Spear to Keep, Neptune, and so on, because the next one in will be Galliana, and there's a couple of days in it, so it's probably not going to change. So as you're seeing it now is probably how it's going to stack up. White Shadow 198, yeah, they had a bad run on leg 3. So you're probably going to see this as the final rankings. It stops at Translated, Sterner, and so on. They're out of the rankings on one leg, so they don't rate for the rest of it. So that's enough of that. And we will come back here, and I'll drop in and say g'day and see if there's any comments here. I got to pick it up here. I can't even find it. There it is. Down here. I think we get a bit more spam in there. Or we get bombed with spam. Oh, spam, spam, spam. Spam. There's a song called Spam, Spam. I forget how it goes, but spam is the ham in the can. You know, spam. Anyway. Evening, g'day, Rob. Good. G'day, good afternoon, Explorer. Down there exploring again. Yeah, interesting course again. Morning. Does Explorer have enough gas to cook? They just discovered another bottle, so they've got one bottle left. And Jane was saying just a minute ago that it looks like they can keep baking or something, and I'm sure. I don't know. I haven't asked them the question. Maybe Jack did today, but I'm sure they've got a lot of food on board the boat. It's quite heavy. And in fact, the saga of our new boat is ongoing. We'll announce it all later on, but weight is going to be everything. I'm going to just chop the crew. I'm going to tell them one pair of shorts, one T-shirt. Weight is weight. So we'll have one will be adventure boat, the other will be a performance boat. Anyway, so yeah, I'm sure they're fine. I don't just bring... hang on. Hello, Don. Bring them home. Yeah, T9 in the water soon too. I hope so. Although now we're going to shoot back with our travel plans. Now we're doing the logistics, trying to work out what we're doing, where we're going. We're waiting for Sterner, and then as soon as Sterner arrives, we'll bolt back to France with Mona, probably with our rig. And then we're not sure when Translated are coming back. I've got to go back to do a few things. We're still running the race, monitoring everything, all those sorts of things. There'll be Translated and Explorer still to finish, and then we'll see how it goes. And Explorer, yeah, I'm reckoning 8 or 9 of May, and we'll come back and hoo-ha them when they get here. So it is wrapping up quickly. It's been amazing to watch the coverage of the success for Maiden with the winning the OGR, which is pretty cool. It's great for the girls. I can get off on that. Don't worry. I always stick my foot in it and say something sexist or bloody whatever, blah, blah, and I just don't care. I just say it as it is. But in terms of women in sailing, I think the OGR has pulled off some reasonable statistics with the number of women sailing in the event. It's kind of ironic. It wasn't planned that Maiden would win. It happened to be a boatload of women. But I'm sure there'll be others, and I'm going to state this clearly here once, just so that there's no confusion later on. There will probably never be another all-women crew in the OGR. If someone wanted to apply and put in an all-women crew, which happened in this last edition before Maiden, we said, no, sorry, it's a mixed gender crew. So we don't discriminate for women and say, yes, you can have an all-women crew. So if you're thinking of entering with an all-women crew, you can't. It's got to be mixed gender because I'm straight across the board. We clearly gave Maiden a dispensation based on the historical context of the boat, Tracy's previous Whitbread, which was very clear and very simple and very defined. So as I've already had a small comment, maybe someone else might be thinking about doing another similar thing, an all-women crew. So sorry, you can't do that. It's a mixed gender crew. Otherwise, it's discrimination against all the men. So you'll have to have a man on board. That'll be a good dynamic. Then everyone will feel sorry for the man, unless there are a bunch of good women on the boat. And I'm sure they would be. But anyway, that's how it works. Yeah, Maiden did have a special dispensation because of the history of the boat, which is cool. And we had, I think, something like 30% of all the entrants, all the sailors in the race were women, which is great. And on Explorer, we were running 50-50 on the crew, which is cool. And we'll be running 2 boats next time. And I think we'll still see maybe a high percentage of women because they have an opportunity to get on board that way, even if they're not export super hot sailors, and that's an opportunity that Maiden and DP World were able to do and offer for the crew, which is fantastic. I mean, it's a stunning success at every level. So it's going to be interesting to see how it stacks up next time with all the women, which is great. Okay, I got sidetracked there. I bring them home. Yep. There you go, Rob. Explorer heading over to visit Translated 9, maybe. Maybe they're getting ready for the race. It's the joke I've said to Marco a long time ago. You better beat Explorer. Anyway. Another interesting thing that came up. When we may have even said it once before, but when we talk about the restart for 2027 for the next edition of the OGR, we say that it might start in the UK or Europe. Now, we're not saying that the UK isn't in Europe. We're just saying it might start in Europe, total, any other country, Spain, Portugal, Finland, Norway, anywhere. We could start in France or whatever, Italy, you name it. Because that's all, I think I said all of those, yeah, I didn't go too high, is Europe per se. But we particularly give reference to the UK because of the history of the Whitbread. And so we weren't thinking that the UK was outside of Europe as such, but we're just saying it could start in UK or Europe, anywhere in Europe. So that was another one. Anyway, Shane, I heard you earlier say that Triana is nearly out of food. Yeah, we'll find out when they get here how bad it is, but yes, they're nearly out of food. How would that affect Explorer and Sterner with their extended times? Sterner hasn't mentioned anything. They've got enough food, and Explorer hasn't mentioned lack of food. They just had lack of gas. So Explorer was one of the ones that were topped up with the best of everything for food, even frozen fish in the freezer. It's just food's a big deal on the boat, which is great. They're having a good time. And so no suggested Explorer is running out of food. Bringing the ducklings home, just a few days until we find something else to do and aim as usual. Yeah, remember the mini globe race? That's going to be cool. That'll be the end of this year. We're starting off with the Transat. We've got a mini transatlantic for about 18 of the 19-foot or 5.8 metre plywood epoxy home-built little ships. They're fantastic boats, so that'll be fun to watch. Peter, hi Don from South Africa. What may a team do if they say they run out of food during a leg? They get hungry. May they opt, excuse me, to go to land and refill food supplies? They can, but they'd be out of the rankings. That's outside assistance. So, so that's part of the course. You're not allowed to have any outside assistance from anyone. So run out of food, and you can you hopefully get some more food before you all starve, but you're out of the rankings. So we had one leg with Neptune. They hadn't had any food for 2 days when they arrived, and that was interesting. But they managed it well, so good fun. They're retiring if they do that. Yeah, exactly. Another cold, windy Adelaide check-in. It's okay here. The sun's shining, not much wind. Question: did you advise Triana that you declared maiden overall the winner? Well done. Yes, we did. Because as I mentioned yesterday, there was a situation where the day before we got a message from Triana saying, please don't advise the winner until they arrive, and that they wanted to make a specific call to speak with me. Now, I was unsure why, because that could have meant various things. And so I said, that's cool. Here's the numbers to call me on. They've got all the numbers anyway. And then we said, confirmed to them we wouldn't, because that was the request. And then by the next day, we hadn't taken the call. They had ample time to call me if they needed to discuss any aspects of that. So we then sent them a message about 10 o'clock in the morning saying we are now due, because we hadn't heard anything from Triana, due to advise officially the winner of the OGR in the afternoon. And that gave them fair time to come to us if they had any issues associated with the race and any declarations and so on. They didn't come back to us and ring us at all, but what they did do in the end was they sent the cheerio and well done maiden situations. So we were the ones that advised them that maiden were going to be declared the official winner in the afternoon if there's no further correspondence on the subject. So that's how that all panned out. And it was good to get their message of support. It must have been really tough for them, I've got to say. They've known it's been coming for a long time, and they've been struggling with the weather. So it'll be interesting to talk to them when they get on shore. Okay, Simon, the OGR spectacle in Cape Town, Auckland, Punta has been amazing. For the 27 OGR, might there be some merit in requiring finishing boats to remain in port for, say, 14 days after the first boat finishes, so that the same spectacle and atmosphere can be repeated at the finish? Now, the problem with that is that when people get to port after 8 months around the world, the last one, no one wants to stick around. They sort of do, but who's going to stick around for Explorer? No disrespect to Explorer, but certainly, and we didn't have, as you all know, we didn't have a host port to finish until we had to re-coordinate and reorganise, and what better place to be than Cowes. And I've got to say, we've all fallen in love with Cowes, right? And everything associated with it. So, that was kind of cool. It's got a completely unique atmosphere here, and it feels great, very much like a yachting centre, whereas at the start it was all a bit sterile and had no real, hard to describe. So yeah, we've all fallen in love with this place, but people want to go home, and do their stuff. And in fact, when we decided on the prize giving date, we wanted to make sure the prize giving for the OGR was going to be a situation that everyone exactly finished the race. And my estimate then was the earliest we could run it was somewhere in the second week of May. Okay, and excuse me. And I was correct in that. The way it's panned out, second week of May is right. And then we looked at it for a couple of different reasons. We were looking for a host for the prize giving, and as it turned out, it turned out to be Translated 9, because they love the event beside their own entry in the race. They just liked the OGR in total and everything it stands for. And they offered to take on and host it. So we're going to Rome, and then we're looking at the dates. And we thought, okay, sometimes it's better to wait to let people get over the race and settle back into their routine and do it, rather than wait just a little bit when they're trying to settle into their routine and the people then have to come back and break again. So we didn't have any problem with the idea of going with June the 21st, which is the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, or the shortest in the Southern. And nothing's ever going to work out perfect with everyone, because some people go back to other countries and they can't get here. So we'll have a reasonable turnout, but we won't get everyone to the prize giving, and that's always the challenge. And so there's the challenges of that, and then sort of forcing everyone to leave their boats here for a couple of weeks and so on when they really want to get back into their life. So, it's hard to replicate. But anyway, we had great parties in Punta Leste at the Yacht Club Punta Leste, and the atmosphere there was nuts. But I know what you're saying, Simon, but it's hard to make it work at the end. Okay, that looks like more spam there. And John, I'm sure Triana will be looking for some great food. Yep. They've got some people here, so I'm sure they're coordinating all that. That's more spam by the look of it. More spam. They must have found all our popular numbers. I remember Don saying something about very limited berthing availability in cows. I think he said 3 spots. No, this it's okay here. Coming onto Trinity Landing, we can get maybe 5 boats, but it rolls over. And then if we wanted to start the OGR from cows, we would go to the Yacht Haven Marina. So if we wanted to run the prologue for the Gold Globe race, what better place to do it than the Yacht Haven Marina down here? Stick around for 6 days, have a big atmosphere on here, and then race back to Les Sables d'Olonne before the start, assuming Les Sables d'Olonne took the race on again. So yeah, cows is a nice place to hold sailing events. So all kind of cool. Okay, more spam, cheapest. Really hope Translated do get to travel to the finish line. Yeah, I'm sure they will. Keep an eye on the social media. It'll be great to have Kirsten and prize giving also. Yeah, Kirsten, we just realised yesterday as well. Our events are really, for some reason, kicking goals for women sailors. And Kirsten winning was an amazing story. She broke all that, but you probably saw the post underneath. If you haven't seen the video, it's worth watching. It was a very emotional finish for Kirsten in the GGR. So there were some amazing women in most boats. Yeah, there was. That's the beauty of the OGR. The doors open. You don't have to be a crack professional female sailor to get there. So, geez, we've got a lot of spam, eh? You have to clear that out. So, cheapest. A lot of spam. So anyway, I hope you have signed up Heather as your next skipper. I got to fly the flag for. We won't go there, but yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll have 2 boats, and I've said it a few times. I hope I'm skippering one of the boats, but we'll see. And then we'll be looking for passionate skippers who really want to do it and want to be there because they just got it and want to be there, not for any other reason. We'll have 2 boats. We'll have the Swan 57, and they'll be able to beat the time from 2023, and then we'll have the new one, and that will be a hot little boat. So see you in Rome then for the prize giving. Too true. All right, that's it. I waffle on. So thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow. As long as it doesn't, we'll juggle any arrivals. I'm not sure when Tapio is going to come, but Tapio is going to be in the drifter for sure, and might be very late. So all good. Okay. See you soon with Triana on the water. Bye-bye.